All right, guys, this is Hero. How's everyone doing today? आज बता cho आज सब कैसे हो? Today I'm going over my no social media for 4 years mark, okay? And basically the effects that I believe have been caused by not using social media, right? I've obviously gotten older. Some of these effects could have happened, naturally on their own without stopping social media, but these are some of the effects that I believe have been derived somehow or in some way from not using social media, right? So I stopped social media a little bit before Thanksgiving 2021, right? And now it's a little bit after Thanksgiving 2025. So I am technically a little bit late. Usually I try to make these videos 1 or 2 days from the actual 6-month mark, but I made this video every 6 months since then, right? So that brings me to my first point. The thought of social media has literally left my brain, which is kind of why I almost forgot to make this video. Okay. If you see my beginning videos, and if you want more information on how I started and things like that, my very first video, that my 6-month mark, does a very good job explaining that. Or even some of my earlier videos in general. But in my earlier videos, I mentioned social media a lot. Okay. Like, my basically urge to kind of use it again or whatever, right? That kind of stuff. Or some of the kind of more cliche direct effects. As time has gone on, the amount that I talked about those things has significantly decreased. And now I'm at a point where it's not even a thought in my head. So for those of you who are asking, how long will it truly take for you to forget about it? I would say about right now, 4 years. Okay, like truly forget about it. For someone who's used it since the beginning of high school, till like, let's just say almost a decade later or whatever. Okay. So yeah, that's that. So social media is no longer a thought. Like if you were to delete it right now, if somebody were to, just, get rid of all my online presence, like I would not care at all. Okay. So that's the first thing, the direct social media thing. The second thing, and this is kind of like the reason why I started intuitively, is because of the effects, right? Now, another big thing that I've noticed now is that some of the more cliche effects are not even an afterthought. And I'm actually noticing some more deeper effects that, that it's like truly me becoming a new person. Okay, and let me explain. Some of the more cliche effects, like I'll give the most, I think the most cliche effect is don't compare yourself to other people on social media physically, right? They're filtered, they're possibly, doing other things to their body that are unnatural or harmful or whatever, right? So once you stop social media, that gas, that fuel, that comparison fuel, if you want to call it, kind of goes away. But now it's like almost completely gone, right? Because I'm not using it. I'm actually, realistically holding myself accountable and responsible in certain things realistically, right? Like when it comes to my body, for example, I kind of really have a grasp at what's normal and what's like just normally good, not like, top 0.1% good kind of thing, right? Or, if a vacation, what I have pretty, appropriate standards on, what's a good vacation, what's a reasonable vacation, right? Not, I'm gonna go, buy a yacht and travel to China or Singapore, and if I can't do that, then I'm a failure in life. Or realistic standards when it comes to my career, family, all this stuff. It's not like before where I'm like kind of fighting demons. Now it's over. Those demons are gone. I'm actually like, I feel like a normal person, like as if I was like almost like alive, like in the 70s or 60s or something like that. Okay. Another thing is when it comes to actual people, before, my focus has been just cutting off toxic people, right? Because I'm kind of going through like a cleanse and things like that. I feel in the last 6 months to a year, maybe even a little bit more than that, but I've actually had a real ability to make like real, true lifelong friends. Like I thought I had the ability before, but now I know I actually have the ability. Okay. And I don't know how to explain it, but it just kind of stems from not really having any judgment for people that you hang out with and being kind of free to do what you want without judging yourself, right? It's hard to explain, but that just is what it is, right? And another thing, there are certain people that you are forced to hang out with in life, right? Even those toxic people or stuff like that, I'm not so drained to the point where that they bother me so much anymore. Like I'm able to kind of wholly deal with them and understand that they're people too. They're part of somebody's family, whatever, right? I almost kind of feel like almost like I'm not gonna say an old person, but kind of kind of like how old people kind of like just appreciate everybody or kind of see the good in everybody. I feel like that like a little bit. Okay. I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything, right? But or that there's not people that I don't like or whatever. But a little bit of that kind of is sinking in. Okay. But especially with people that I do like, I'm able to really enjoy their company a lot more. Okay. Another thing is that I am not so hard on myself with everything. Okay. With social media and you kind of strive to be in like the top 1% or whatever. And if you're not in that, there's always room to grow and stuff like that. And while that is true, right, there's nothing wrong with, having big goals for yourself and things like that. If it's not something that you want, even if you're in the top 10%, 20%, whatever, for some things in life, that's okay. Okay. You don't need to be the best at everything, right? And social media kind of really harmfully wires your mind like that. Okay. Especially when you're like kind of like in your teens and 20s kind of thing. I think as you get older, that kind of fades away a little bit naturally. But, I would still consider myself a young person, like under 30 and stuff. So I could attribute some of that to social media. It's not like just a natural byproduct of getting older. Like for the amount that I've kind of had this, I think some of it's coming from not using social media, okay? Another thing, your level of lust and that kind of like need of validation for others just kind of completely almost disappears. Okay. You don't really care if you get who you get attention from and all that kind of stuff. Another thing. Okay. When we try to do too much in life, sometimes we get actually like absolutely nothing done. Okay. That lesson has sunk in me more and more, like exponentially, like month by month. Okay. Especially over these last 6 months. In the sense of in the sense of, for example, if you try to do too much at once, you're just going to get overwhelmed, and baby steps are important, right? Like, for example, there was a big rain event and there was like a lot of like clogged sewers near my house and like leaves and stuff. The old me kind of would have just been like, oh, it'll either just go away or I'll find some time to where I just feel like taking care of all of it, right? But now something that I might do is like, okay, one day clean up the leaves, one day kind of hose down and brush away the mud, like kind of space it out. This is obviously like like an extreme example, or a very obvious example, I'll say. But this kind of applies, right? You're much more inclined to just knock out the little things, right? Another thing, you're much more realistic about what you want in life. Okay. On social media, it's great that we're exposed to like, these CEOs and all this kind of stuff. But when that's just all you're exposed to, your brain literally forgets normal life. Okay. And, not everybody is at CEO level at 20 years old. Okay. Some people, and most people, should appreciate the kind of little jumps in wisdom and stuff like that come, just gradually over the years, right? And especially when you kind of compound some of these effects, like realistic standards, and then your ability to deal with people a little bit better, you just tend to enjoy the present moment a lot more. And when you do that, you actually end up going a little bit more towards your goals without realizing it, and one day you'll just look back and be like, oh wow, I've actually accomplished a decent amount, or I've actually learned a decent amount that I probably, if I had some pessimistic attitude, like I'd still be unhappy or whatever, right? So I'm at 10 minutes. I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. I would strongly recommend, you stop if and just to kind of, in a nutshell. Oh, the one other thing, right? So, okay, I stopped, all that stuff: Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I never got on TikTok, even YouTube, right? So at the beginning, I only used YouTube Studio. And so actually, okay, at the very beginning, I'm even trying to remember. So YouTube Studio, you couldn't upload videos at the time. So I actually had it on a family member's phone to upload videos. Then YouTube Studio, okay, the point I'm trying to make is that YouTube is kind of the only social media app I've used, but I have extreme limitations on it, okay? I upload videos currently from Studio. Before you were able to do that, I did it from a family member's phone. And currently I actually have it on my phone, but I've kind of already detached from it so much that I don't really feel like using it, okay? Although sometimes there are some clickbaity kind of videos that you kind of jump in, but I've been using YouTube mostly from incognito mode on my phone, so that you don't get, you can kind of just, if you're trying to watch something in specific, you kind of can just go just to that and not get distracted by whatever nonsense is on there. Okay, so that's pretty, but I just wanted to mention YouTube just to kind of be a little bit more transparent, because I have to obviously use it for these videos. But and one other thing is, and this kind of stems from the attention thing, right? Not wanting attention from people. You don't really feel like having to justify yourself for anything, right? Whether that it's coming from like an intelligence standpoint, like I'm proving that you're right. If somebody is super adamant on something that I know is wrong, I'm just gonna let it go, unless it's like an immediate family member and like this is really important for them to know. Another thing, yeah, so that it's with intelligence, right? Another thing is with humor, right? Like, I'm not really trying to, prove that, I'm funnier or entertaining or, a cool guy or whatever like that. I'm just going to be myself, and that's it. But like, actually just be yourself, right? Not like trying to prove that you're the person who doesn't care what other people think or any of that kind of nonsense, right? So these kind of layers just kind of get stripped away. But I feel like I'm really at a point to where I'm just like a free spirit. Like, I almost just kind of feel too free, as if like, if it were to all end right now, I'd be okay. Like, I mean, I know that's not true, but I'm kind of just starting to really just detach from everything because of how attached social media makes you, right? So I just feel like relatively so detached. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be it for the video, okay? If you have any questions or comments, or you need any advice on how to stop, I'm always, gonna add my 2 cents or pitch in any thoughts that I could feel are helpful. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you all very, very much for watching.